Holy cow, we're back. Another episode, another week. We're still here. Most of us. Kenny Sandy and Hair left him long ago. I'm your host, Medium Daddy Cool Eddie Jenkins, with your other host, Maximus Bacon. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Look at us, 2 weeks in a row. Model of consistency. Shout out to
2 weeks in
Martin.
a row. We definitely missed a week or two.
We haven't been canceled for the whole season yet.
Old dad brain over there.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Kenny? Speaking of, well, no, you'll probably never give Marcy those grandkids. How you doing?
Why do we got to talk about that in the first minute?
I always
first
want
of
to give
all,
Marcy a shout out. She's our
this
number one fan.
This background song is not nearly slow and depressing enough. It's not authentic.
You know,
I want the funeral
authentically.
one.
You want a funeral one?
I want the funeral one, not a funeral. I want the official slow song that nobody can sing.
I think that'd be great. Maybe instead just get like the saddest band in the world to play it. Like get like the remnants of Joy Division to play it. You know?
Not even I get that reference.
You don't get Joy Division?
I know Joy Division. I just didn't.
Never mind. Ian Curtis killed himself. Anyway, Jesus, I give up with you. But we got a couple things to talk about. But before we get to the meat of the story, we talked about this a few weeks ago and we didn't get to do it. But I really want to bring it up. I want to talk about this hypothetical and kind of a comparison at the same time. We got Jason Wright, right? He's been here through this whole change, this rebirth of a franchise, whatever the heck's going on, afterbirth of a franchise. And he's done things, I guess, but I feel like they do things and then they have to go back and revise it because they didn't really do it right. And that's with so many things, you know, so many things. From the little patch on the jersey down to Sean Taylor getting retired and now they're doing it again. Like they've had to redo everything. How good has he been for the franchise? And what would the franchise look like now? Would they be in a better place or a worse place if Bruce Allen were still team president? I think a few things would be different. I think they would probably have a stadium deal. And I wonder what the name would be, because I don't think it would be Commanders. And I know the jerseys would look vastly different. So I do know a few things would be better. I do hate Bruce Allen with all my heart. But what do you guys think the franchise would look like? Would they be in a better place? Would it be any different? Is Jason Wright just a name on a door?
Well, you're talking about the look. I know for a fact it would feel greasy. If Bruce
for
Allen
sure.
was
He's
still
awful.
here.
He's awful.
I think you're right. You're probably onto something about the team name being different and whatnot. I don't think Commanders would have flown. Uniforms might have looked a little more retro, old school. Jason Wright kind of trying to modernize the franchise. He's kind of taking us.
Do you think that's him though? Do you think that's him, or do you think like he's literally a name on a door? Because either he's like pretty bad at his job because he can't just seem to get anything right, or it's Dan and Tanya, whatever her name is. Nobody cares.
Tanya.
Tanya Tupper.
Yeah, I think Dan still ultimately has most of the control. I think he, Jason Wright's the public figure. He's the fall guy. If anything bad happens, he's the one that we all bring our pitchforks at, or supposed to, if something bad happens.
I think after Jack Del Rio, the next person that would be on the chopping block is him. I would think they would cut him before they would let go of Rivera at this point. For whatever reason, like Rivera is there he's going to be there for 5 years.
Yeah. Everybody knows
Plus.
Rivera is a good dude. I think that's like, even like Dallas fans tell me, like, Ron Rivera is a good guy, great coach, good guy. Like, we like Rivera. You can't hate Rivera. So yeah. I think they accomplished what they wanted to with that.
If Jason Wright is Benny Hill, Bruce Allen is Adolf Hitler. I don't. He was the most toxic person, I think he's more toxic than Dan Snyder is. I think he had a lot more influence on what the just insanity that was taking place during the end. I actually think I blame Bruce Allen for the end of the Redskins era because he basically drove a car off a cliff. Jason Wright is another puppet, but this is a puppet of the NFL, which is different than a puppet of Snyder. I don't think I think he is there to like kind of make Snyder happy-ish, but he's there to, as doofy as he is, try to give us a good like image, even though it is a train wreck. That's why I say he's Benny Hill, because he's a Roger Goodell guy, and Roger Goodell's an idiot. So like this is just a microcosm of that mountain, which is also not a clean mountain with clean water. It's still toxic water, but it's different than the toxic water that's coming off Mount Allen, which was just sludge, cancerous sludge. I'm so happy he's gone. Maybe, you know what? I would rather be the Commanding Commanders as a name and where actually don't play with underwear and just go commando as our uniforms if we got rid of Bruce Allen. I just think that was the worst thing that's probably happened, the worst era of Washington football. Like even now with all the craziness going, nothing will ever compare to the Bruce Allen years. I feel like that took us from that was the transition from falling apart, but like as a team, to falling apart as an organization.
I thought the culture was actually pretty damn good.
Bruce Allen water bottle.jpg.
Right. Yeah. What? There you go. That's perfect.
This was the start of our downfall. Because every week was actually this was how Bruce Allen's era started, and then it went into like Gannon music.
I feel like Dan Snyder, like whenever things aren't going right, he just kind of he only knows like one trick. He's like, let's bring in somebody big that's going to take the attention off of me. Like he did it.
It's a great point.
But that doesn't. Yeah, but that kind of stops working. You know what I mean? Like that just became like not enough at one point. Which, thank goodness, because something needed to happen. But like in the end, I think Dan Snyder still is him leaving is the only hope the franchise ever has of being actually really good. I don't know what he's got on Goodell or anybody, but it's just it's ridiculous at this point. So would you be happier if the name was better and the jerseys were better, et cetera, anything that maybe Bruce would have gotten right if they were still basically in the same place they are now?
No.
Or are you glad it's Jason Wright and you can stick with those things?
I can deal with those things. I was so ready to get rid of Bruce Allen. I would have pretty much given up anything team related at that point. Like the uniforms, they're not great. Like the yoga pants. After you pointed that out, like that bothered the hell out of me.
It looks like Lululemon on the football field.
Yeah, but I mean, I can deal with that stuff as long as I don't have to deal with a piece of trash like Bruce Allen destroying the organization. Like, even though things aren't going right now, like I feel better about where we are as an organization with a chance to turn it around versus
He's still got that shred of hope in his heart. What a weird thing.
I agree, though. It felt like we were literally driving off a cliff every day under Bruce Allen.
In a flaming dumpster.
We're stalled on the edge of the cliff right now, just staring down, being like, can someone please tow us? And Jason Wright's like, hey, give me like 10 years.
Spider-Man has his web like dangling us over the cliff, and he's going to pull us back up. I mean, the thing is, it wasn't going to get better with Bruce. I don't have any. It was just going to get worse.
I mean, the worst thing about him was that he enabled Snyder too. Like he didn't try to do anything else. You know, him and his slimy friends were going to do what they were going to do. I mean, you saw the emails that leaked from John Gruden last year. Like, as you guys know, like the two things I hate the most are the stupid name and the awful jerseys. But I don't know that I could stomach Bruce Allen.
By the way, can I side note this for a second? Did you see what John Gruden said yesterday or today? I think.
What did he say? Please tell me something.
He said he was defending those emails. He said but I really am a good person. And if you ever have to say that you're a good person, you know what that means?
You're
You're
probably
not.
not.
And as the same person to be like, I'm not racist, but and they're
Yeah.
like, oh, you're
And when
racist.
anybody says blah blah blah, but
Right.
you
He said,
probably know.
guys, but I'm a good person.
But
Now,
I think the three of us would agree that, I mean, we wouldn't mind if they trotted out onto the field and called the unicorns and pink tutus if we went to the Super Bowl.
absolutely.
Like the uniforms, they may be, you know, sucky or whatever, but if they put a good product on the field, I don't care.
I don't know if I can say that, to be honest.
Do you remember Joe Gibbs'
We'll see
quote?
though. We'll see when
Joe
they play a
Gibbs-
real football game how I feel about them. Go
Joe
ahead.
Gibbs in like the late 80s, right after they won, I think, their second Super Bowl, and they're like interviewing him, and he was like, they're just talking about everything, and he was like, yeah, like we're the best, and we have the ugliest jerseys in the NFL. And that was like our favorite coach about it. Yeah, they became classic, but I mean, like, it doesn't matter what you wear. There was a time when the Redskins chose those colors, and I'm pretty sure everyone was like, ew, what's that? But then after 60 years, you're going, that's awesome. Who knows in 60 years?
Yeah, but see, it's just it's different. You know, again, it's what you associate with the games and stuff, and stuff like that. So we'll see. I'll see how I feel about it here in 10 days, something like that. It's not too far off. I'm pretty excited about it. But yeah, I just thought that interesting hypothetical. It's something interesting to think about in the multiverse out there. I'm sure it exists. That Bruce Allen is still president of the Washington somethings.
No. He's probably president of the San Antonio somethings because we've been relocated because he's Bruce Allen.
Oh, geez.
They're actually probably called the somethings. He probably changed the name to the actual somethings.
If they move them to Dumfries, it might as well be San Antonio, to be honest.
Maybe we'd be named the Washington Bullets.
That'd be way better than Commanders. It's way better than Wizards still. That's one of the dumbest name changes ever.
They still should have been Sea Dogs, which was one of the candidates.
Which is worse, Eddie? Redskins to Commanders, or hold on, Redskins to football team to Commanders, or Bullets to Wizards?
Bullets is pretty cool. Like, I would say that if you told anybody like your team's name is Bullets, they'd be like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Like, you tell them your team name is Wizards, like you're either a Chris Jericho fan or just like lame. Nobody's gonna like that. Like, I mean, it's the dumbest name. Like, I don't own any Wizard stuff. I only own Bullet stuff. As you can see, I like the old school stuff. So I bet
Kenny owns like every Wizards item ever known to man.
I got a fair amount.
You got just lots of Jordan jerseys.
Wizards loincloth on right now.
That's why we only do chest up.
Thank God.
You don't want to know what's going down under the mic.
Oh goodness. Let's come on. Marcy's listening. We don't need to talk like that.
Hoggy.
Number one, Hoggy.
Oh, by the way,
allowed to call her that.
To get more viewers, hashtag Hoggin the mic, hashtag Serena. Number one. What? Then we combine the two, and people like come find us.
The U.S. Open.
The U.S. Open right now.
Yeah, retweet it, Kenny. Let's see if that works for us. Anyway, today, as you know, there's a lot of roster moves, a lot of big moves going on in the NFL at large, and in Washington, they're down to a 53-man roster, and they've been filling up their practice squad as well. What are you guys seeing? What are you interested in? Do you think they're strengthening up things? Do you think there's still a lot of questions? How are you guys feeling?
So I don't think there was too many surprises. Jarrett Patterson, I really liked. We cut him. Other than him, I don't think Danny Johnson you could say, but like once you get to this point, you're picking straws. Like is Danny Johnson? Should he be on the 53-man roster? Maybe. Is he better than some of the guys we just got? Possibly. Nothing like that stands out's like, whoa, like I can't believe he didn't make it. He must have had a terrible offseason. I'm just more concerned that we have 15 cornerbacks and one linebacker and one tight end on the entire team. Because there's going to be an injury or two in week 1 to 2, and then we're going to be picking off other guys' practice squads to fill in starter roles.
At least like we're not the New York Jets. Like they're an awful team like we are, and we had 0 people picked up that we sent to or that we cut. Nobody picked up any of our players on waivers, yet the Jets had 11 picked up.
Yeah, but you know why?
Because
our players stink.
Pretty much. And if
John Bostic was cut wasn't re-signed, spent 2 weeks in New Orleans, and they said, we don't want you. And then no one touched him on waivers, and now he's back with us.
Sounds about right.
And I guarantee that John Bostic will probably be starting in the next 6 weeks, first 6 weeks of the season.
Probably, yeah. I mean, sadly, like we're not deep at linebacker. We're really not deep at corner outside of the starters. Like we have solid starters, but we're not deep. But linebacker is the big concern to me. I mean, Milo Eifler.
Cam Curl, but he's in a sling now. He's broken.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get somebody to remind people of.
That's my boy.
That's a question right there.
That's the guy I said was going to be the breakout star this year. And
yeah, defensive MVP.
He's got Pinocchio wooden arms attached to him.
I'm okay. Yeah, you're scrolling. Well, I'll make some comments. I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of Derek Forrest.
This is like the credits to the saddest movie I've ever seen in my life. Directed by Dan Snyder, written by Dan Snyder, produced by Dan Snyder. And it's like, oh my God, all these actors have probably were
special thanks to name on wall, Jason Wright.
Yeah. Antonio Gibson. That's our punt returner.
No, that's our running back because our other running back being gunned down in DC.
That's pathetic.
What kind of year is he gonna have?
I think he's solid. Kendall Fuller's a guy that I don't worry about too much. There's probably a few games where I'm gonna be like, damn it, Kendall Fuller, and there's gonna be some games where like, that was a damn good game, Kendall Fuller. But like, I don't think, no Pro Bowl. No, I'm upset with him too much.
How many games does this guy play in, and how many does he start?
Taylor Heineke well, I won't do play in. I'll say start. I'm going to say Taylor Heineke starts 4 games.
I bet you, Max, what are you thinking?
I feel like if you had to put a line on it would be like 2.5. Like I'm somewhere in the Kenny range. Like Wentz has not proven that he can stay healthy for a whole season consistently, and Sam Howell looks pretty damn good in the preseason. So,
that's so iffy though.
Week 10, he could have overtaken Heineke by then. But they also signed Heineke for 2 years, so they kind of got to make a decision on what they're going to do with him after this year.
Yeah, I don't think unless 2 guys get injured, I don't see Sam Howell getting in. I do think I can see, because it's just Carson Wentz, a minor sprained ankle, concussion, something that knocks him out 2 to 4 weeks, and Heineke's in the middle of the season at some point and looks like he always does. Good for a half, bad for a half. Could have won the game, could have lost the game.
We'll see. He's really good when he comes in, I think, in relief compared to when he comes in and he's like, people are game planning against him. And again, last year was his basically his de facto rookie season as a starter. So maybe he's learned, maybe he's grown. What we've seen in preseason certainly probably hasn't told that story, but maybe he has. We'll see. But I think we'll probably see him start maybe 6 games, maybe more. I'm going to say 6+. I don't trust in Carson Wentz to be upright and okay and cleared every week of the season. It's just doesn't happen often for old Big Red.
You know what makes me sad about this? Like, I spent hours of one day looking at old rosters from the early 2000s on teams. And I was like, oh, we have hope to win these games. And I look at all the players. And I'm like, yep, he lasted about 2 more years in the league.
A lot of these guys are almost who's who as you go through this. If you ask the casual NFL fan, not an expert, not a guy that's super into every player, but you showed him this roster, you'd be like, who's never heard of Cornelius Lucas? Never heard of Fedarian Mathis? Never heard of David Mayo? Never heard of Bobby McCain? Like, who are they? Like, we know them because they're on our on and off in practice squads 14 times a year. Who are these guys? Like, who are they?
I mean, they're still in a rebuild. Like, and to think
I get that. I get where we are and stuff. But we have just so many guys that are, like Max said, in 2 years, you're going to look at this roster and we're going to be like, who's this guy? And who's this guy? Like, and they're on our 53-man roster right now. Obviously, you're J.D. McKissick, like he's highlighted. He's going to have a great year as RB2.
How important is this guy to the offense functioning and being good and being a third down outlet for Carson?
I mean, he might be more than that now that Brian Robinson's gone and we kind of like gave away, a bunch of running backs as well. J.D. McKissick might be kind of our RB2 at this point.
When J.D. McKissick is not on the field, like you notice, he makes plays. He definitely opens up the offense because he's so quick and they can just dump it out. Like, it opens up the middle of the pack because whenever they give the ball to J.D. McKissick up the middle, like nobody's there because they just expect it to go wide. But, we do that a couple times. It sucks everybody in, and then we start dumping it out again, and we move the ball. Like he's vital.
He's vital.
Absolutely. I think you're going to see him a lot. Last year he was pretty hot at times. Like put up a lot of points, put up a lot of yards. I think he's going to be, especially with a very questionable backfield.
I said, and he's on a fantasy team of mine already.
Me too. And he literally did not sign with the Bills to come back to our team. Like he was going to go to the Bills.
Two guys that right there we just
highlighted. They were furious.
Back to back. McKissick and McLaurin just said, for some reason, go Commanders. We want to be a part of this organization.
Yep.
And they're good guys.
Terry's a special guy. Terry is a face you want on your franchise. You want him to be the face of your franchise. And right now he is. He's the best player on the team.
And I would say that Jonathan Allen's that guy on defense because he usually says the right things, but he also punched Daron Payne in the side of the head on the sideline. Yeah. I don't ever see Terry doing that.
Honestly, Eddie, I wouldn't even say that McLaurin's the face of our franchise because I still think it's Chase Young on a national level. Now, this year is going to determine whether it's Chase Young going forward.
McLaurin is underrated.
No, correct. He's like the Darryl Green.
By all standards.
He's not the face, but he's like that guy everyone knows.
But he's also the guy that consistently puts up numbers. And I think if you're 100%. A fan of this team, he's your favorite player.
Yeah,
so I'll go with that. I think he's everyone's favorite player, but
that's what I mean by that's what I mean face of the franchise.
Right.
Like he's the people, like the people that are actually fans of the team and actually going to put down their shekels for a ticket.
I always
that's
think
your favorite player right now. Who else?
I always think face of the franchise like ESPN's doing a promo of Monday Night Football. Your team's on it. Who do they show on the graphic? It's always if Chase Young's healthy, it's gonna be Chase Young.
Yeah, but he's not, and he
has
that's the problem.
Surprise.
I would say Terry McLaurin is literally like Nolan Ryan on the Rangers. Like he's the bona fide star that's going to have an amazing game that's going to win it for you, but the rest of the team is so crappy that you could throw almost a no-hitter and still lose.
Right.
He's my favorite all-time baseball player, Max.
Who?
Nolan Ryan.
Okay. Well, there you go.
There's an Eddie.
You like my comparison. You like my comparison then.
That's good, but a younger Nolan Ryan on the Rangers because he was like 40, I think. When he was on the Rangers. He was an old man, but he was still throwing like 110 mile per hour fastballs.
No hitters.
Just a beast. With a bloody nose and everything. One thing that I am
more recent
worried about. One thing I am worried about, and it's supposed to be a strong suit on this team. But there's no depth there, and they don't have a proven second defensive end right now. They let their other two options go for some reason. It's the defensive line. Like, are you guys not worried about it? I do not trust them to be able to get off the field on third down. Even during the preseason, they looked much the same.
That's the problem. It's the pass rush that in 2020 won us a division. I mean, albeit we were very mediocre, but like the only reason we won that division was our defensive line. Then in 2021, was just garbage. And if they don't do anything, we got worse defensively behind them, I think, this year. Especially we got thinner at linebacker, if that was even possible. I think we got a little thinner defensive backs, if that was possible. You rely on the D-line to make that all work. And if it's 2021 all over again, we're done. We're not.
Well,
we're having a terrible season.
I really just don't trust them to get off the field. I'm worried about the defensive line. We talked about the linebacking crew. I think you if you know anything about football, they're pretty bad at linebacker, and they're very, very unproven in the secondary too. They just picked up 2 guys off of waivers, and they usually start 5 cornerbacks.
Yeah,
these guys are going to see significant playing time, and they got cut. I am very worried about the defensive side of the ball. We don't know how good the offense is going to gel, and we don't know if that defense is going to be any better than last year.
And the thing that's crazy to me is first, and we watched it all last year, first and second down, they're actually a very good defensive team. It's just they don't know what to do on third and long. I blame Del Rio more than the players on this, because it just seems like there's a scheme that he's in his own head that he's like, no, it'll work. And it doesn't. He's like, no, it works. It's my way. And then it doesn't. And you do that 24 times a game until you're bald like me because all your hair has been pulled out of your head. And so I don't think it's really the players. I know we're weak. I know the depth is not there. Third and 17 shouldn't happen even on any team consistently.
No.
Well, would you expect anything else from old Mr. Dust Up?
I mean, I think that's what I'm saying. So if third and 17 is a problem again this year, Del Rio has to go.
He's definitely first on the chopping block.
Absolutely. Well, I don't mean we just had a couple games that were bad defensively, but we went 4-13 because nothing worked. It needs to be last year was just amazing. How there were times where if it was over 3rd and 10, I was less confident when it was 3rd and 2.
Yep.
So if we're back there by week 12 again, Del Rio has to leave.
Yeah,
I agree.
Let me say that it just seems like we went the way of the Bengals more than going with defensive players. We just shored up the offense all off season. Basically, we're just if we're not going to stop anybody, we're going to have to score. So we make it a point to sign McLaurin. We draft Jahan Dotson. We draft Brian Robinson. Fidelian Mathis in the second round is basically just a defensive depth replacement because we lost all of our defensive line depth.
I think the first round pick on Davis last year is still just
lingering.
It's pretty dreadful. It didn't address anything. I don't know how they made such a huge mistake.
Well, I thought they drafted the right position. I just think they didn't draft the right guy.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how they whiffed this badly because the guy looked pretty.
So one of the more concerning things that I was reading about after our last preseason game is he started the whole game, which is already concerning. And the more concerning stat is he didn't have his first tackle until the 3rd quarter. And then remember, so this isn't we're playing the Super Bowl champion Rams and they're just that good and quick. He's playing against 3rd stringers on the Ravens, and the guy makes his first tackle in the 3rd quarter, and he's being played because we're trying to get this guy caught up to speed.
London Fletcher could come in right now off the streets
and be better. Correct.
And make more tackles than that.
Right. Yes. Have more of an impact than now listen, it's preseason. I don't judge in preseason because it's nothing counts. Nothing matters. I'm going to give Jamin Davis half this season before I even decide to put a stamp on him as a bust. But if we're in week 9+ and we're still right here, that's when the uh-ohs and the SpaghettiOs begin.
Hey, that's exactly why you draft best player available and you don't draft by position of need, because I feel like they reached on Davis because they knew they needed a linebacker. He was next on the board, and that look where that turned out for him. But my bold prediction this season is that by week 10 if we're still in playoff contention, Kerrigan comes out of retirement.
Kerrigan is not coming out of retirement.
He is. He's going to. He's still hanging around. He's coaching the guys. He's
I
going to
will
get there.
say, his last year here, in almost every time they put him in, he was making plays. Like you saw his number, and you saw his number called quite often. I feel like.
Well, that's because they actually. I can't believe I'm about to comment and give a compliment to the Washington football team staff. They used him so correctly that last year because if you remember, it was just like 3rd and long, and they were like, "You have one goal, get the quarterback," and he was like, "Done."
Yeah,
so he was only playing like 10 plays a game, fresh, and murdering people.
They broke him. I feel like him and Brian Orakpo would have had way better careers if they hadn't been put in that awful defense. Because remember, that was when they changed from a 4-3 to a 3-4.
Yeah.
So like they had to go out of their unnatural positions. Like I think Washington hindered the careers of both of those guys.
And they would have been a lot of guys.
And they would have been way better. I still remember Kerrigan's first game where I think it was his first home game. He got an interception and returned it for a touchdown. It's a pick six. Atlanta, I think.
I was going to say New York.
Atlanta. It was either Atlanta or New York Giants, but I think he also had a pick six against Atlanta too, because he's done it a couple times. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I bet he's still got some in the tank, and he's probably better than most of the guys they got on the team.
Well, so I'll agree that he's definitely better.
He's better than the options they have
yes.
at defensive end right now.
Correct. I don't think he's coming out of retirement, but I will say that he could just join this team. Couldn't be worse than if he's going to play he could play linebacker, like back kind of what he used to, like drop back, and be much better than what we have at the moment.
Hey,
sure.
That's why I threw the caveat in of if we're still in playoff contention, because that makes it a lot less likely.
But if we're in playoff contention, that probably doesn't mean we're giving up 3rd and 17s every single play or every single third down.
You never know. Let's look at that schedule and see what it looks like.
Well,
maybe they got a few games they can win here in a minute. Let's keep moving on here a little bit. How about Brian Robinson? I know he. Do you guys think he's going to return this year after being shot?
So I do not. I do, based on what they're saying about the bullet going through his knee without hitting any important structure. And so I think he can play. I think he will play. I think that's why he made the 53. And it was like awful seeing that news. Like it just PTSD'd me from the Sean Taylor thing. Like, because when Sean Taylor got shot, like, I didn't think he was going to die. And then
me either.
And then
because the reports were like, dude shot in the leg. He's like, gonna be fine.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's kind of what they were saying about Robinson. Right. And then all I can think is, God, I hope they got this one right. Because they said it was non-life threatening. Thank God he was at the facility yesterday. Like, he's in good spirits. I do think he'll play, but I don't think they'll rush him back, like, especially if we're not winning.
So I'll go with the Kerrigan route that you said. I think he could come back at the end of the season if we're in playoff contention. Otherwise, it's like, dude, just make sure your legs are good for next year.
or else he will turn into
Bryce Love.
There you go.
And speaking of legs, how are you guys feeling about Sly? Is he your guy?
At the moment,
yeah.
I've had faith in him, like, since they brought him back. Like, I think he's a good kicker. I think he's better than Hopkins ever thought about being. But
here, at least, he's great in San Diego, which or Los Angeles. We all saw that coming.
They're always good, not in FedEx.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So, but he just get his misses out of the way in the preseason, and let's just get it done when the real games start, and
I don't
we'll
trust
be okay.
him at all. And as soon as he misses one, you know what I'm going to say.
But there's a difference between missing one and what Hopkins used to do, which was make. All right, we're down by 3. Let's tie this game, Shank.
Same thing with Graham Gano. So
right. So Sly can miss one, but for me, it's like, is this a game-changing moment? Is it in the 3rd or 4th quarter, and is it a makeable field goal? If it is, make it. If it's the first possession, you miss it.
If it's 50 plus, I'll give him a little leeway. But if he misses anything below that as an NFL kicker, unless there's like a freaking cyclone in the stadium, cut him.
Yeah, but nobody goes perfect. Like, you're going to miss a few. I just don't want to see him missing things that change the game, which is what Hopkins used to do.
I'm just saying, let's set the culture of accountability. If you suck, you get cut.
Well, if we do that, we'll have 6 players on our team by week 3.
All right. Speaking of the 6 players that would be on the team, how are you guys feeling about Logan Thomas here? Are you guys excited to have him back? Do you think he's going to be an important part of the offense this year? Because I think he's going to be very important. You see the relationship that Wentz has had with his tight ends before, and this is easily the best tight end on the team.
If you watch the first preseason game at all, like Wentz's first 5 passes went to the tight end, and you know it's some no-name guy that we picked up this offseason. Logan Thomas has the experience and has the talent to be a star for Wentz. I think he's on track to play week 1, and he's going to be big this year if his knee's good.
So that's my thing. I'm very excited he's back. I'm just very kind of cautiously optimistic because I really do see him not being the same. He was never supposed to be as good as he was in 2020 when he was like just taking charge and winning us games. If he takes a few steps back and it's disappointing, not shocking. It would be disappointing, just not shocking, which is kind of what I'm bracing for at this point.
We'll see. I think the only thing standing in his way is if he gets hurt or not. If he can stay not injured, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be one of the best players on the team. I think he's really good. I think he's going to be good in that offense. We'll see if they can get the ball to him. Let's move it on a bit down here, just a little bit to the second best player on the team.
Well,
Tressway.
obviously.
Let's just say Tressway. We all love him.
Second best player.
Yeah,
I think they should just fire Rivera and let Tressway coach, and also punt. We're not gonna talk about Carson Wentz.
We're gonna talk about Willie Beavers.
We'll be talking about him plenty come the start of the season.
We can just do one more on Carson Wentz here. One thing Carson Wentz has to do this year to be successful. What do you think that is?
Not turn over the ball.
How about you, Max?
I'm sorry. My thing is this: he never, even in his poor years, it's never really been about interceptions. It's fumbling. The dude just fumbles more than Antonio Gibson. So if that goes away, I'll be a lot more confident in him.
Okay.
Sorry,
you gave such a concise answer. I was so proud of you for once. It was. I hated that you went back. You really.
You blew it.
Damn. Yeah, damn it. How about you, Max? What's one thing he has to do to be successful this year?
I think he needs to take another real goofy picture for you to zoom in on 6 times and send in our group text.
It's because he's so ginger, and that suit is so ginger, or the weird yoga costume is so red. It just looks so weird.
I'm surprised we haven't changed our Dan Snyder Hoggin the Mike background to the Carson Wentz starter jacket picture.
Yeah, right.
Because that's the one but that encompasses like our new season because it's like Commanders and Carson Wentz. And then that's like the saddest picture you've ever seen in your life.
I don't know. That Dan Snyder pick's pretty sad.
It is. No,
moving on from Dan Snyder now. Now it's like Carson Wentz SZN.
To me, I think the one thing he has to do is, like we talked about earlier, is stay healthy. I think Carson Wentz is probably a pretty decent football player, but since he got hurt, the Super Bowl year for the Eagles, he's just not been the same. And this is his last shot. He needs this as much as the team needs it. Needs him. So if he doesn't do well here, this is his 3rd stop as a starter. You run out of chances at one point, and this is most likely his last chance if it doesn't go well. So I'm guessing he's going to put the effort in.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think what he needs to do, and I think the coaches have worked on this in camp. I think he can't look over his shoulder. I think he's got Nick Foles-itis ever since he got hurt. Willie Beavers. Anyway, I just think he needs to focus on putting his best products on the field, not worrying about who's behind him.
Yeah, I agree.
Or like who's in front of him, like Willie Beavers.
Do you not like Willie Beavers?
I don't even know who Willie Beavers is.
Well, you're not a very big fan if you don't know who Willie Beavers is.
Pretty sure he played practice, had 2 practices for us, and then was on the IR somehow.
He's friends with Corn Elder.
And Wild Goose.
I did want to scroll through the practice squad. We won't linger on it or anything, but Corn Elder's back there. Troy Apke, Kenny's second favorite player.
We cannot get rid of Troy Apke. Troy Apke's like coronavirus.
Jarrett Patterson, here we go. Hometown boy. Hope he sticks around. I do like him. You like to see a guy like him be on a team like this because he actually cares and loves this team. Much in the same way you do. That picture of him last year is pretty funny in all the old Redskins gear.
Yeah, I feel like John Toth is going to be on the next episode of House of the Dragon.
I haven't watched any of that yet. All right, now let's switch it up just a little bit. And let's go.
Doesn't even know what that is, does he?
What, switching it up?
House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon. Or that.
House of the Dragon. I watched the last 2 episodes.
Oh, look at you.
It's really good.
It's really freaking good. Like if Washington sucks and they're on Sunday Night Football, I may just watch House of the Dragon instead. At least that'll be good.
It's like Game of Thrones used to be before they ruined it at the end.
Exactly. 100%. I like Eddie's background.
There we go. Here it is. The schedule this year. Let's do it. Let's go through these each game. And keep your tally marks.
Play some sad funeral music.
Take 5 minutes. Can you all talk for 5 minutes?
Can we what?
I said we're live. We can't pause it. Can you all talk for 5 minutes? I got to do something for 5 minutes.
I don't want to know what that is, but sure.
Sure, we'll do that. Oh God, I don't even want to know what's going to happen when he returns.
I think he might have IBS.
Can we have some sad funeral music or something?
We can't, but we could. I might have some music on here. Let's see here.
Play the Undertaker's theme song while we're going through the schedule.
How about just more Benny Hill? Which is pretty much this should honestly be the new fight song. It's just Benny Hill music.
Yeah, there you go.
Because that's what the team is. Pretty sad.
So we finished the preseason 0-3.
Not sure what's happening there.
What happened?
There we go. I looked up my computer, was refreshing there for a second. Yeah, finished the preseason. Thank God it was abbreviated and we didn't have to watch a 4th game.
Yeah, I was totally fine with that. I'm not surprised we finished the preseason 0-3. Like the Ravens apparently want to win every preseason game they ever play for some odd reason.
Yeah, I care less about Baltimoreans, even though I'm kind of one of them. I'm looking at these first 5 games, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me, just on their face, I see one definitive loss. Like before the game even happens. Like on paper, there's one team that's certainly better than Washington. And that's the Eagles.
You think the Eagles are better than Dallas?
Yes. I think what Dallas did last year, with all those leading in turnovers, that's really, really hard to replicate season to season. That's one of those things that just kind of happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be that good, and they've got some injuries. I don't see Dallas being that good this year. I think the Eagles are the clear favorite in the East, and maybe the second best team in the conference.
So if you were to throw money down on who would win the NFC East, you would pick
the Eagles.
The Eagles. Okay.
Yeah, and right now, looking at it week 1, I would say the Eagles for sure. Do I want that to happen? No. No.
I'm pulling up the odds here now. All right. So, NFC East, the favorite is slightly the Philadelphia Eagles, just ahead of the Dallas Cowboys. The Eagles are 6-5, which basically means if you bet $60, you'd win $50.
Thanks for explaining to me. I won't remember it later.
Dallas, if you bet 30, you'd win 20. Washington is 13-2 to win the division. So, actually, I apologize. You need to flip that around. If the Eagles, you bet 50, you'd win 60. Dallas, if you bet 20, you'd win 30. Washington, if you bet 20, you'd win 130. And the Giants are dead last at 15-2. $20 bet would net you $300.
So they got the Giants last.
Yeah.
Washington. That says something. That says something at least.
Yep. But I actually agree with you on the Eagles. That was my favorite to win it this year. For some reason, the NFC East tends to like rotate division winners
all the time.
It's
usually the Cowboys and the Eagles, unfortunately.
Yeah, we somehow sneak in there like every 5 years or so.
Yeah, something like that. It's like
3 to 5
that
years.
year where everybody's hurt and somehow they get hot for like the last 8 games of the year and barely make the playoffs at 9-7.
You never know.
I'll take it at this point, But looking at these other 5, these first 5 here, let's just keep it in a tight window. Who else are you worried about? Like, is there another team here that you're worried about? Because I'm not really. Like, the Cowboys, of course, that's going to be a hard game. But I think Washington is always has the ability to beat the Cowboys. And the Cowboys always have the ability to beat Washington, no matter when it is. Like, I don't care how good or how bad they are. It always happens between those two teams. And again, I don't think Dallas is that good.
Okay, so looking at the first 5 games, I'm going to say best case scenario, 3-2. Worst case scenario, 1-4. I think I'm actually semi worried about the Jacksonville game, only because Doug Peterson knows how to get under Carson Wentz's skin just because he's been around him so long. I think we're only favored. I think we're only favored by 3 at home, so they see
so it's basically even.
This is Trevor Lawrence's sophomore year, so he's got that year of experience. If he's the generational player everybody pegged him as the number 1 pick in the draft, like, he's got to start to show that this year.
And you got to believe, like, last year you kind of got to give him a scratch there with all that was going on. It was madness. Like, he didn't deserve that. Like, one of the worst coaches in NFL history, easily.
Mm-hmm.
For him.
Yep. And then for some reason, everybody's pretty high on the Lions this year. I'm not sure what it is, whether it's that they were on Hard Knocks and people just like what they're seeing, or what. But
that happens. People start having compassion for these guys once they know them on some sort of personal level. I think once they watch a TV series. I haven't watched any of it this year. I thought about maybe marathoning it before the season starts. It's always kind of the same show these days, though. Unfortunately. I do wish they could do it for an actual dysfunctional franchise where there's a lot of drama. Like here, I would love to put Dan Snyder's bullshit in the national lens, but the NFL will never allow that. So you said best case scenario. What'd you say?
Best case scenario, I think 3-2. Worst case scenario, I think 1-4.
3-2. So I'm guessing you're going to say the Cowboys is the maybe other loss, probably.
Yeah, or the Titans. I mean, they've either made or came close to being in the playoffs the last 5 years. They've been pretty consistent. Vrabel's a gambler like Rivera, so that's one of those games that can go either way.
All right, let's expand this out just a little bit further. Let's go the whole half of the season.
Okay.
I'm seeing some games that worry me, right? I don't know what we're going to get in Chicago. Like, they got a second-year quarterback there.
Thursday night football as well.
Mm-hmm, which, notoriously, this team is awful. Whenever there's a national televised game. Thank goodness. I think this is the only one unless something gets flexed, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe, which is great. But... So I think that's a question mark game right there, because I'm not sure how good the Bears are going to be. They might be great.
I don't think
they
so.
might not be. You don't think so?
No. I mean, they traded away quite a few of their players. Roquan Smith says he's not playing there next year. I really honestly would like for Washington to go after him pretty hard. Like, we need a linebacker. He would be a great fit. I'm honestly surprised that they haven't tried to make a play for him, and maybe they have. Like, that's the position we need. He's got 1 year left there. Like, he'd be a big piece for our defense if we could get him.
Yeah, I think the biggest probably worry would be the Packers when you're looking there in that first 8-game stretch.
Yeah, the Colts game is going to be interesting.
The Colts game will be interesting. Who did they even have at quarterback? I honestly don't know.
Matt Ryan.
Okay. Matt Ryan does have Washington's number. He does have Washington's number most of the time.
Yeah, he seems to put up numbers, but somehow we managed to pull it off. I don't know how. Like, Chicago, I think we can win. Green Bay is one of those games I'll peg as a possible upset game because for some reason we always tend to keep it close, or beat Green Bay.
I almost died that last time they played Green Bay. I think that was the hog roast. Like, we had to hold the awning or whatever that is down. It was blowing so hard, and it was worth it though. It was worth it for that pig. Thank you, Pez. But yeah, that'll be an interesting game. The ones that worry me out of the first 8 though, easily, if you put up your big worries where you're like, I'm not sure if they even have a shot, it's the Eagles and it's the Packers for sure.
Yeah.
And then the games where it's kind of iffy for me is certainly the Cowboys and certainly the Colts. How are you feeling about the first 8 games, Kenny? What's your best case scenario first 8 games, and what's your absolute worst case scenario?
Did you have a good nap, by the way?
A great nap. It was very, very, very refreshing.
You pinched off a loaf.
What's that?
I said you pinched off a loaf.
Okay, so I gotta I've looked at the schedule. I haven't really broken it down. I have a full season prediction, but it's just one that a general feeling. If we want to do game by game, I feel like we go off the top of my head: win, loss, win, loss.
Okay, I want you to talk about the losses. Who did you say the losses to?
So win against Jacksonville, win against Detroit, lost against the Eagles, lost against the Cowboys, win against Tennessee, but that's 50-50 because Derrick Henry could run for 400 yards on us.
Exactly.
Win against Chicago, lost against Green Bay, and then Indianapolis also a 50-50 game. I could also just see us losing to them as well.
Yeah, Matt Ryan again.
So I think that's 4-4. So best case 6-2, worst case 2-6.
I mentioned to Eddie while you were gone, Jacksonville and the Colts kind of have a Carson Wentz connection with Doug Peterson as the Jacksonville coach, and the Colts having Wentz last year. So they kind of both know how to get under his skin. So any other case should be winnable games. It worries me with their extensive knowledge of Carson Wentz, though.
Well, the thing that's concerning to me, week 1, if you want to just talk about week 1 right off the bat.
We're going to talk about that next week. But yeah,
I'll just say the one sentence. Carson Wentz could not beat the Jaguars when the Jaguars were basically hi, we're a doormat. Win. And he said, nah.
Yeah. That should tell you a lot about Big Red and what he's coming from and why they were able to get him.
Big Red.
All right. Let's flip it to the last half of the season. We got another several games here, and we got 2 games in 2023. What the hell? This is madness. This is utter madness.
You mean there's going to be at least 5?
Oh, get out. Put the crack pipe down. We got Kirk's return game November 6th in week 9. I think they're going to lose that game. Eagles, I think that's no chance really. The Texans, hey, there you go. All right.
Davis Mills, he's good. I'm telling y'all.
We'll see. How about the Falcons?
Nah.
We can beat them.
And then we got the Giants.
twice, back to
We got it
back.
back-to-back Giants.
Isn't that weird?
Yes.
Giants by Giants. Two wins.
I agree. 2 wins.
I'm going to say that, but I think you look at it right now on paper, that's 2 wins. I bet they drop one of those games.
No, 100%, because that's just how the division works.
That's what we do.
They'll lose one of those, and it'll be the one at home.
And then we're going to get crushed on Christmas Eve.
Probably, yeah.
Absolutely crushed.
I'll be at that game. I'm going to Chicago and San Francisco.
Jesus. Are you coming home for Christmas?
I'm gonna be over. Why do I need to be home for Christmas?
I mean, I don't know what your family. Maybe your family celebrates Christmas. I've never asked.
We do not celebrate Christmas.
We have Hanukkah.
I said Christmas
heritage.
I said Christmas.
Hanukkah's over by then.
I don't even know what it is this year, but I'm going to be in San Francisco. My plans for like 10 days.
Are you going to bring your football menorah?
I will if it happens during Hanukkah. It comes with me.
Okay, awesome. I do want to see that. We'll have to do episodes of that in the background.
You're gonna do an episode while I light every candle, and we do prayers together on this podcast. We're gonna do prayers together.
When your poetry comes back, we'll do poetry and prayers with Kenny.
How do you say Carson Wentz in Yiddish?
No idea. You'll have to tell me that.
You tell us.
A lot of bone breaking sounds.
And then my New Year's resolution is going to be to get more massages.
He'll be back, right?
Yeah,
he'll be back. And then so what should be a win will be definitely a loss.
And then depending on what state they're in, how many people are hurt, and whether they even care or not, the Cowboys game.
Loss.
So I'm looking at that best case scenario for me. Let's see here.
You want me to give some Vegas odds?
I'm going to say 4 wins best out of that last half.
Oh, I thought you were going to say for the season. I was like, good grief, I need to check your pulse.
for that's like best case scenario. And if things go well and they don't have like a bunch of people hurt and they're not 31st in the league on third downs. That's what I'm saying there. Like they could absolutely be a doormat and drop way more of those games. I think worst case scenario, if you're looking at teams that might sneak up on them and have their number, maybe worst case there, 3 wins. Maybe.
Yeah, I think best case 7 wins out of the last 9 games.
Who are you having them win?
That's
7 wins.
That's best case. I would say that we had already dropped one to the Eagles. We managed to win one of the 2 to split the series. They
might as well be both in Philadelphia anyway.
Beat the teams we should in the Texans, Falcons, Giants twice, Browns, and again, if we drop the first one to the Cowboys, I could see us getting the second one, depending on if that's a meaningful game. And then you never know. Like we got connections with the Vikings and the 49ers with Kirk and Shanahan, so you can win one of those.
I think Kirk will beat them, or Kurt.
So anyway, the Vegas odds for Washington on the season is over under 8 wins out of 17 games. The first game is we are -3, and we are 80-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Which I think is so stupid because 80-1 is like not that crazy of odds.
I mean, if you bet $5, you could win $400. That's pretty.
That's throwing away $5. It should be bet $5 to win $4 million because that's what the odds should be.
Kenny, you're the one that's always singing Super Bowl.
Give me week 3. When we're week 3 in the podcast and we've beaten the Jaguars and Lions, I'm going to say, here's how the week's going to go. Win, win, win. Win, 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 win. Win, 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 win. Playoffs, win, win, win.
And people are going to get real, like they're going to feel real good about themselves if things do kind of go according to plan. Maybe they're and then they hit those games like they play there in week 11. They play the Texans. They play the Falcons and the Giants there with the bye, and they get 4 wins in a row. People are going to be like, oh, man, resurgent Washington. And then they're just going to get thumped. They're going to get thumped by the.
But we do have a back half easier schedule like that. That Houston, Atlanta, New York stretch, and even like let's just say Cleveland's gonna be the drizzling shits as like 2. That's 5 out of 6 games that are very winnable at the end of the season.
We'll see. We'll
and
see.
Then,
so
like you said, Cowboys might not even care at the end, so it could be like technically if they put their backups in 6 of 7. Like you never know. The football season. Well, are we doing like full season predictions? By the way.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we're about to get to here.
Okay, I'll
Can you miss this? Who wins the NFC East this year?
The Cowboys.
Me and Eddie both say the Eagles.
I mean, it's one of the others. I can tell you it's not who is not us and the Giants.
That's what Vegas agrees.
Vegas
agrees.
With who?
3 numbers from you guys. I need
the
best.
Eagles. Eagles and Cowboys are very close. Eagles slight favorites over the Cowboys, but they got the Commanders 13-2 and the Giants 15-2.
Yeah, better than them.
He can listen to the podcast later and hear what we talked about while he's pooping. I need 3 numbers from you guys. I need your best case scenario for the full season, your worst case scenario, and what your true heart as a fan, your sober true heart right now is actually telling you. I'm gonna let Max go first because I know Kenny's gonna give the longest soliloquy of soliloquies to ever soliloquy.
Well, what did we go last year?
8-9?
No.
7. I thought we went like maybe 7 and 10. Okay.
I've tried to block it out. It's been a long pandemic, guys.
So let me put it this way: 7 and 10 last year with Taylor Heineke. We have a much easier schedule with pretty much the same team. I think we win at least. I think Carson Wentz is worth at least 2 more wins than Heineke. So I'm saying that best case scenario this season would be that we go about 11 and 6.
It was 7 and 10, by the way.
Okay, 7 and 10, and then worst case floor 8 and 9.
So you're saying best case 11 and 6, floor 7 and 9,
8 and 9,
or 8 and 9.
We'll win more. We'll win more than last year. We had a Heineke and a way harder schedule last year. So I don't.
Now, what's your heart telling you?
My heart's telling me it's probably going to be somewhere in the middle. I feel like we all have a pretty good pulse on this team. I'm going to go 9 and 8.
9 and 8. So that's your actual prediction right there.
Yeah.
All right, Kenny. Soliloquy. The floor is yours.
Well, okay. I'm not doing best and worst case scenario. Best case scenario 17.
No, I need all 3. I need all 3.
Best case 17. No. Carson Wentz wins MVP. Dan Snyder gets fired. He quits. We have a new owner. We change the name back to the Super Redskins, so everyone's happy.
Just play along with the bet, Kenny, and give me your number. So what's your best case scenario?
17. No.
Jesus Christ.
That's not a thing. Best case scenario, like. No.
If everything goes right, if the team lives up to its potential and grows, no, that's not really. Every team has a ceiling. It's not a hard thing to realize. Right. It's not a strange concept. I'm asking you, Gibby.
I'll go with 10 and 7.
10 and 7. That's all I was looking for. Thank you.
It's funny because when he did say best case scenario, I was like, well, that would be 17-0, but
right, worst case scenario,
it's not realistic.
And our offensive line quits, and Dan Snyder plays quarterback. 0-17.
So 10 and 7 for best. What's your worst?
I'll go with 5 and 12.
5 and 12.
I don't know why you're writing this down. I don't feel strongly about either of those answers.
What's your heart telling you?
Okay, this is where it's my time to shine. The floor is mine for 45 minutes.
17-0.
Your hard stop at 11 is 11-17. So go put that hat on and that ugly hat and let's go.
The Washington Commanders, with a new name and basically the exact same team, march into this season with a much easier schedule and a new quarterback But without the depth and with a few key injuries to begin the season and with the off-field shenanigans that are going to affect the team, the Washington Commanders finish this season 7-10.
7-10.
So same as last year.
And with an easier schedule.
Why?
The Washington. I just told you why.
Yeah. So you're guessing we're going to have injuries and off the field shenanigans.
Yeah. I honestly said this before season in my long ass Facebook post. I think we're a 10-7 team that's going to actually be affected with about 3 games worth of. And granted, it's not going to cost us specific games, but 3 games worth of just mental silliness. The Dan Snyder thing. It's costing us 3 games at this point. It's affecting us on the field. We're going to go 7-10, where we should have won 10-7 if we were like a strong-headed team, but we're not. So we're going 7-10.
To me, the Brian Robinson shooting is the end of our bad luck.
That's part of it.
We're gonna get a stroke of good luck now. We're gonna regress to the mean. We're gonna just coast along this season, and we're gonna go 9-8.
You can't be bad luck. Bobby doesn't walk like go trekking like in Hawaii and fall into a volcano and goes, "Hooray, my bad luck's over."
All right, so I've calculated it here.
Why does my name say nude quarterback? At what point did I say nude quarterback? I said new quarterback.
Why is Max's name Willie Beavers? We'll never know. My best case scenario. God,
this is
8,
hold on.
8 and 9.
Damn it! Let me guess. I was gonna say 4-13, but okay.
8-9. Best case.
Worst case 3-14. Say it.
Huh? Worst
Say
case.
3-14. Worst case.
Worst case. I'm a little bit more optimistic than Kenny. 6-11.
Oh, look at you.
What was your best case again? 8-9?
8-9. And I'm writing this down so we have this in perpetuity.
Eddie's extremes of best and worst case is just 2 games.
Yeah. But what my heart is telling me, my true number,
it better be in the fucking middle.
My number on the season, where I think they'll end, 3-14.
That is worst case scenario.
No, that's where I actually believe they will.
How is that not worst case scenario? You can't say, okay, but worst case scenario is I get COVID and I have lung disease. Best case is I don't get COVID. What's actually going to happen? I'll die. That's worst case scenario.
Your heart speaks to you differently than mine speaks to me.
No, literally, that's worse than your worst case scenario.
He has a charred black heart. He's like the Grinch. It's like 18 sizes too small.
That takes the definition. I rescind both of my answers now. I go to 0-17 and 17-0 to counteract your non-worst case scenario.
No, it's already been written down. It's in stone, literally. I sat here and chiseled it out. So.
Eddie's like
do worse than a worst case scenario.
Eddie's like best case scenario, we win 6 games and the season's canceled.
Yeah, I would love a strike season. I think that'd be great, honestly.
That would be me saying, best case scenario 10-7. What I actually think, Super Bowl.
Anyway,
it's be better than best case scenario. Somehow we're just gonna do better than the best.
I did not expect to be the most optimistic of the.
You're always the most optimistic. I don't know what it is. It's like you've got I think kids and wife and happiness or something, and Kenny and I are just miserable old wretches, I think. And you got that awesome Redskins rec room there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna go play around the pool here in a minute. You can just call me glass half full bacon.
I might just do
half
that.
full. Would that have made more sense?
Half full beaver.
Now we're a rated R show.
Oh Jesus!
It's after 11. We can say whatever we want.
Good Lord, is that how it worked in Marcy's house? She went to bed and Kenny's like, "Dick, I said it."
Number one,
thoughts on politics.
Oh goodness, let's not do that. That won't end well. Kind of like the season at
All right,
3-14.
so I want to see if anybody responds to this. I'm just going to throw this out there. If you're our number one Hoggy, let us know on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Where else are we? YouTube.
Man, you're gonna have to start putting content out there. Like,
OnlyFans.
I can't do everything.
Okay.
Yeah, OnlyFans.
After
I'll-
11, we're on OnlyFans.
Kenny wears a bikini made of bacon. It's kind of weird.
I'll clip this out. I'll throw it on TikTok, and we'll see who our number one Hoggy is.
There you
Number
go.
one Hoggy, baby. And don't forget to
God.
hashtag Serena, hashtag Hoggin the mic.
I already tweeted that out.
Get us some views.
I don't think that's how it works, but
That's how you interlink.
Old coattails here. Anyway, look at us. We're ready for the season. We're jazzed up. We're hyped. Some of us more than others. One of us is a nude quarterback that took a poop mid-episode. New things every week. Next week we might even get poetry out of the man.
Or a live poop.
Oh, even worse.
After 11.
Are we already moving the episode to the bathroom?
Oh, it's
give me at least a week 3.
I forgot about that. Jesus. Anyway, I'm your host, Medium Daddy Cool. For your other host, Nude Quarterback, and your other host, Half Full Bacon, saying, remember, the purpose of our lives is to be happy.
Go Vols.
Go Dukes.
Get out of here.